Good evening. Today I want to talk about fan sprayers, and this is a tool that I use a lot, and I'm not alone in being an enthusiastic fan of them. Haha, a fan. Design stuff like what to look for if you're buying them, and design flaws that I see and what I think the ideal one would look like. The reason I like fan sprayers is just I haven't found anything that's a real replacement. I mean, there are other things that spray out in a fan, like a lot of these multi things that you can dial in, like different, it says jet, mist, flat. So flat is one of them, but it's just not the same. It's like a flat band. It has a lower volume than a fan sprayer has, because these are pretty high volume. It's just not the same, and nothing else I've ever tried is the same. I've used round ones and oval ones, and I've used these guys, these little nozzle guys. They're low volume, they're just not the same. These aren't the same. Nothing's really the same as a fan sprayer, and that's probably why they're still made all these years later. December 9th, 1924, says right here, number 10. What do I like about these? Well, they deliver a high volume of water, but they deliver it, if they're designed well, they deliver it gently as well. And they cover a wide pattern, but it's not too narrow of a pattern. Like, it's still pretty broad in this direction. Like if I'm holding it this way and spraying, it's still pretty wide this way, but it's quite wide this way. And nothing else that I've ever used really does that the same way. The other thing about them is that, like, let's say with a round one or an oval one, you're more limited. So, like this, right? Or if I turn it like that, I can drop a bunch of water on about 1 square foot. So right now, yeah, this is concentrated on about a square foot or even less. So if I'm trying to spot water plants, all I have to do is tip the thing sideways, and then I'm back to, covering, yeah, that's over 2 feet. That's like a 3-foot width coverage from maybe 7 feet away from me right there. And I don't even have that high a pressure here. In fact, I have pretty low pressure. The water droplets are pretty light. Now this is where design starts to come in, because if there are any available new ones that have small enough holes, they're the exception, not the norm. So the old ones tended to have smaller holes, and for whatever reason the new ones have large holes and they clog less, but that's not a huge problem with a fan sprayer. But they deliver larger droplets, which means that they do more damage. They do more damage to seedlings, and they do more damage to the soil surface. So again, I've talked about this before, but if you deliver a high volume of water or a large stream of water, like let's say the worst case scenario, let's say you have a hose, right? And it's just on full blast, and you have this big stream of water coming out, and it's just hitting the soil. I mean, this is literally digging like a 2-inch deep hole into the soil right now. Okay, well, that's what I'm talking about. So the smaller you can get that individual stream, the better, and the less damage you're going to do to the soil. So this is the problem. I can't tell you go buy, a fan sprayer, because most of them are going to have way too large of holes, and I'd have to basically buy every one out there. There's probably 10 or 15 available on the market. Try them all out and see if one could be recommended. What I can recommend is old ones. All of the ones I've had from this company called the Ross, and it's the Ross, not just Ross, have been good. There's this one here. Another common one is this, which is either aluminum, or I think it might even be zinc actually, and then it has a brass face cast into it here. And this is also an old one. It's not made by the same company. I don't know, it's a no-name one, but this one worked really well until it got squished. So look for those. I mean, if you can find one of these in good shape, it's easily worth $5 to $8, because you're going to spend that much on a new one and it's going to be crappy. You do need to look carefully. For instance, this one is corroded. It's got major problems here, and it's got a crack over here. And I might be able to fix that with like JB Weld or something like that, but it's pretty much of a mess. If you get any that have like folded and soldered seams like this, check those very carefully, because they can have hidden leaks too if they get damaged. I've had one of these really nice all brass ones fail from getting squished somewhere. This one's been squished numerous times, you can tell, but it just hasn't, the solder joint here hasn't given way yet. So the other important design features are, that it has an adequate width, that's probably not likely to be a problem, but also that this face is curved. It doesn't need to be super curved. You can kind of see about what this one's like. I just went like on Amazon to see what was on there, and most of the new ones have a built-in valve. I think that's that's a mistake. That valve is going to leak. I mean, how old is this? This is from 1924, or at least that's when the patent's from. 1924. It still works. What if there was a valve on this? You think that valve would still work? Well, back then maybe it would have, and you could rebuild it with a washer or something, but I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think any of those companies should be making those. They should be making just the plain fan, and then you put, you know, this on here, and that also allows you to switch this, because you should have one of these on your hose anyway as a shutoff. So what if I want to change, you know, from this to my sprinkler, but this already has a built-in valve, so then I have an extra valve here that I don't even need on top of this one, or I take this off and it sprays water everywhere until I stick it in something else, and you know that game. Everybody knows that game. So yeah, those are the design features. If I had to design a perfect one, let's just say, you know, that we can construct anything we want, right? It would probably be, you know, stainless or titanium. It would be one piece. If it wasn't one piece, it would be constructed in two pieces, but actually welded together so that it was like a seamless, you know, one unit. Heavy enough that I could step on it without crushing it, and it would have, you know, fine holes. How fine? I don't know. I'd have to test that and experiment and find the exact right size, the right pattern, the right spacing, the right number of holes, the right size of fan, and all that. But boy, wouldn't it be cool if someone made that? You know, 1924 is cool, but that thing's brass and it has a solder joint and it's already been squished numerous times. It's just a matter of time till it gets stepped on and then it's all over with. What a concept. Goods that last. How much would that be worth paying for to get that tool? I'm not really sure. Maybe that's not even really feasible. But one can dream.